Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spectral Sailor. I'm Dawn, and got Jason and Wayne as our special guest.
Hiya.
Rosie is off tonight with her daughter is graduating high school, and as you know, everybody knows that has had a child graduate from high school. There is all kinds of stuff that you have to go through.
Right.
So she's very busy right now. We want to wish Piper congratulations and
Exactly, yeah.
welcome to adulthood.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually just found this out about 5 minutes ago, so I didn't know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, you're stuck with me tonight, bub.
Well, I mean, that'll be just fine. But yeah, I was like, what's going on? Rosie sent me a message, and she's like, oh, I'm not gonna be there. It's like, oh, okay. Because I work 16 hours a day, so when you messaged me today, Dawn, I was asleep. So and then
yeah, I figured you'd see it when you got up.
Yeah, and I was like, what? Why she send me a message to the show? That was weird. And then and then Rosie's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be there. She messaged me like 5 minutes ago. So okay.
Uh-oh. Oops.
It is what it is. It's fine. She'll probably pop in here at some point, I'm sure. But
oh yeah. Well, Wayne, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you've been on a lot of shows recently, but
I have, yeah. My clock's like a wave at the moment. It's crazy. But no, I've been on some really good shows. I've met you before, Jason, and I really enjoyed every show that I've been on. Meeting new people. That's what it's about. So I'm Wayne. I'm an owner of a paranormal team over here in the UK, West Yorkshire. I've been going for about just over 2 years, and I'm just enjoying every bit of this journey. Like meeting so many fantastic people across many countries that I'll never have known existed if it wasn't for doing what I'm doing. So I'm very blessed and very grateful.
Yeah, it is cool how it's like we're all connected in this kind of day and age we live in, and so you can talk to people from all over the world. It's kind of
exactly
neat.
Yeah. It's really awesome. It really is.
Yeah, if you would have told me 10 years ago that I'd be sitting here talking to somebody from across the pond over in Yorkshire and Jason, across the United States, I'd be like, you're nuts.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't think I'd have the nerve to be sitting here talking, with people from, on a camera on Facebook and all kinds of, one, I wouldn't think it was possible. And two, I wouldn't think I'd have the nerve to be doing it.
Right.
I wouldn't think I'd be thinking of stuff to say. But here I am.
Yeah, awesome. It's cool, like kind of like what you're saying is you're kind of united in the common goal, the common subject and subject matter and everything. And then it's cool too because it also gives you that helps build that relationship with somebody if you're ever in that that area. At least you guys can get together and you've already had somewhat knowledge of each other. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
You got friends everywhere.
Right. Yeah. It's like just seeing Jeremy a few minutes ago. It's cool. We hop on and try to, make sure everything's going good. And then we all get connected good. But, it's not one of those last minute things and he's just able to help. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So was there an actual subject that Rosie had lined out for tonight, or was it beyond?
I wasn't sure.
I think it was mental health, and because it's mental health month. So I feel like on that lines that we was going to be talking about tonight on those terms of those sort of subjects. That's what she told me in a message.
Okay. I know I struggle with mental health because of I was in a bad car accident in a coma for a month. So I damaged the part of my brain that I struggle with depression. And so I will I'm legally considered depressed. I will be for the rest of my life. And I wasn't born with it, so I cannot get the state, I can't go to the state recommended stuff. But I have to go through my doctors. But because there is all kinds of help out there for people, but you have to be born with it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't born with it. It come from an accident. So I can't get a lot of things. I have to go through my doctor.
Yeah, I'm sure that probably varies from, state to state, like how they handle things. I don't know how they do it here in Oklahoma.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Where you're at, so.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. I mean, around the world, depression and anxiety comes in different forms and different ways. With my depression, my anxiety, mine was developed at a young age, about 11 years old. My nan died when I was 9, turning 10, and so that triggered it. And I didn't really understand death. It was like, you're only a child, eh? So you don't really understand. And when you got someone that is so close to you, like a mother figure in your life, and she just goes, and as a child, you don't understand, do you? You don't understand why she's not around no more. It really, really messed with my head. And that's like when I was she's about 9, 10 when she passed. But it really went into play when I was about 11 years old. And it's been with me ever since, even like now. If I show any, because everyone's got triggers with depression and anxiety, your triggers. When I get really bad, it gets really bad. I mean, last year I had a nervous breakdown in October, November time, and I was at my lowest point. I think that's probably been one of my lowest I've ever been, ever, where I was telling my mum, my wife, and one of my team members that I didn't want to live no more, that I was wanting to go. I was actually ready just to go, and that's my lowest I've ever been. And that's when I had to come away from the paranormal. I had to step back, and I had to basically recharge and rebuild myself again, and really think what's going on. So I took about 3 months away from the paranormal. Still doing bits, like still watching certain people, but not doing nothing on my own. Not doing no lives on my own, just completely took that away from me. So, because I feel mental health and the paranormal should not mix. Because if you're depressed on an investigation, or you're really bad on an investigation, or doing that could make it a lot worse. It depends what spirit comes through and contacts you, so because that's what negativity feeds off negativity. So if you're thinking negativity and you are being negative, then that negativity spirit will hunger and you'll feed off that and make you a lot worse. That's why I took my myself away from the field,
Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying with that. Yeah, it's definitely two things to you'd want to separate, because if we're dealing with the subject matter of death and what people passed on and all that stuff, I could see where it could affect you, and it could affect the environment. So
definitely. But yeah, I mean, I like to hear other people's stories as well about mental health. I mean, I run a mental health group called Mindset Matters. It's nothing to do with paranormal. It's completely separate. It's more to do with my spiritual side of me. So I have a pie chart or a circle chart and what I do is I'll have the left circle is paranormal, the right circle is mental health, or or that sort of stuff over there. And in the middle, I have a spiritual circle. So that's how I work my team. So when I do mental health, we sometimes will work it with the spiritual side, i.e. meditation, healing, things like that, nature walking, things like that, things that can help mental health. There's methods that you can help yourself as well. So we normally do that. And then, but yeah, we used to do, we are going to start doing them again, actually. Hi, Sherry. We are going to be doing mental health talks again. I've been in touch with some psychologists, and I know a few doctors as well that can talk through and give their expertise and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it should be good. I've done it before. We talk about depression, anxiety, bullying. We've talked about all topics. We talked about in my team. We've got everyone in my team has been through at least one thing, and we were quite diverse in that. So me and my wife, we went through a baby loss. Our son died.
Aww.
At 14 weeks. It was a miscarriage. I've got someone else in my team that their son died much older, so a toddler, so she went through that. I've got someone in my team that's been through drugs and alcohol problems. Someone in my team that's been through, I've been through bullying, and some of my team has as well. Some of my team has been through sexual assaults and assault, so we've got quite a diverse team that's been through quite a bit in their lives, more than others. And when we talk about these topics, we'll talk about those subjects. Only those that's been through it can talk about it, because I've not been through drugs or alcohol, so I can't talk about that, so I don't know how it feels or to be addicted to that, so I don't really talk about that. My team takes over then. But with bullying, I can talk about. With baby loss, I can talk about. With death, with grandparents and stuff, I can talk about. With your parents, I can't, because I've still got both parents here. So we just take turns in talk about what we've been through. And it's mainly more about spreading awareness than solving people's problems, and where to go for this help, because there's always help out there. You've got to look in the right direction. And different projects, different organisations can help you with what you're going through. And that's what we do really over in Minds That Matter. We're there to share awareness more than anything. So
that's good. That's real good.
I don't know about over in the UK or anything, but in the US they have a national like suicide hotline and all that stuff. If you're that, or if you just want to talk to somebody about whatever, but I'm sure they probably have something similar over there, right?
They do, yeah. They have they've had phone calls 24/7. You can ring up all three numbers. Most of them are all three, and just ring up, and there's someone there, always there. Our NHS is pretty good here as well. So some places even got walk-in centres where you can just walk into this place and say, look, I have really got I'm feeling this, I'm feeling these thoughts, those thoughts, and they will help you. I mean, the word suicide is an awful word. It's painful, but it's quite common here at the moment. There's quite a lot of suicides here happening at the moment, and most of them are men, and most of them are quite young as well, and it is scary. It really is scary. I took suicide when I was younger. I jumped myself off bridges and into canals and and off car parks. I wanted to jump, and I've been in that situation. I've been in that, in my headspace. It's been there, but bless whoever's looking over me or whatever, that stopped me from doing that, because it wasn't for certain people in my life, I probably would have done it, because when you do it, you sort of think about the people that you would affect. And for me, it was my mum's face. You know, the look of my mum's face. You know, out of everybody in my life, it's my mum that stopped me from doing the things that I'd done. You know, and the biggest thing I think we all need to do is open talk about stuff, especially men. Okay, we can open talk about our emotions, how we feel. Okay, men seem to have that stereotypical type that you got to be the tough one, you got to be the warrior, you can't show emotion, you got to be the strong man, and you know what I mean. And it shouldn't be that way no more. It should be the way that we should encourage men to open up, to talk, to let all those emotions out. You know, even some women as well. Some women can be quite in that way as well. You know, some tough. You got to be this strong person. And no, I mean, everyone's human. Everyone's got feelings and everyone's got emotions, and they should express those when they feel like they should. You know, it's okay to cry. It's okay to have emotion. I mean, I cry at least once, twice a week. You know, you put on a movie or on some soppy story on TV, and I'm in tears. You know, and it's good. It's healthy to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right. Yeah, or just like we're doing right now. We're just we're talking about it, and it's using our our platform to to make somebody aware or just help or talk or whatever. But it's like yeah, man, if you're having those kind of feelings or thoughts, just kind of let it be known a little bit and reach out. Somebody will always talk to you. It doesn't matter if you know them like real well or whatever, but somebody will talk to you. You're never you're never by yourself. You're never alone, even if you feel that way. So I mean, I know the world's crazy and a lot of stuff's going on, but there are people who care about those things. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think just having the conversation, it does help people, so
it does. It does.
That's well said, Jason. Anyone will talk.
Right.
Especially if you're feeling a certain way, just open up to any one of us. We will talk to you. Why make a permanent solution to a temporary problem?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. I saw this quote the other day, and it said something from the lines of, "I'd rather hear your story now from yourself than hear it from your funeral."
Right.
And that's basically attempting to stop people from committing suicide or thinking those. I mean, you got to sort of think of that way around, And I've seen so many videos over the years of mum and dads going on social media and expressing to their child how they commit suicide, and now they're not here, And all I'm saying is, it's just talk to strangers. You don't have to talk to people that you know. I find it's easier to talk to strangers than talk to people that you know, because people that you know tend to judge, and people that don't know you, strangers, they don't judge you because they don't know you to judge you. So I find it a lot easier to talk to strangers. I've done it before when I went to my local park. I sat down and I started talking to people I don't even know, and it just comes out, and when they're just talking, it might feel weird, or I don't want to put a burden on someone else, but sometimes it helps, and it can change as well. It can change the situation and your thoughts and all sorts. So it can be healthy as well to talk to people that you don't know. And counselling as well. I mean, I've been through counselling, and that doesn't help me precise, but it can help you or help whoever else that's watching. But counselling is over in the UK, it's not the easiest thing to get on to. It's like a backlog of months of waiting, and it could be hard. It could be really hard. And then when you go to a counselor, you get a different one each time. It's not the same person, and it's not help. I mean, unless you're private and you pay him a healthy lot of money, then that's good. But if you're free and you can't afford it, I can't afford counselling sessions every time. You know, you get a different one, and you got to repeat the same story all over again. So you're not really processing forward. You're literally in a loop, and it can be quite annoying. So that's why I quit counselling. But yeah, definitely. But there's like I said, there's some ways we can help. Medication. You know, I was on a medication called Fluoxetine. And I was on that from the age of 11 right to age of probably about 25. So most of my late childhood and early adulthood, I was on medication every day, taking tablets. And I got addicted in a way to them, you know, because I thought without them I can't live, I can't survive, you know. So I was taking them regular, and then at the end I was like, no, I need to get off these, you know. And you know what? Not once was I questioned by my doctor why I'm taking them so much. Not once, you know. So it's crazy, but yeah. But having a second chance in life is good as well, you know. And like I said, the life that I'm living now is my second chance. You know, I've got my daughter, I've got my wife. I should have my poem. I had a poem that I wrote about my life that I will share with you guys at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, I wrote that last year. Last year I wrote that. So yeah, it's good to do things as well. Hobbies and stuff to keep your mind busy, writing, express your feelings. Poetry is a fantastic way of doing that. You know, or just writing things down, you know, make a diary, emotion diary or whatever. Just get it all out. And that's what it's about, getting all those emotions out.
That's what the hospital told me when I come out of my coma and I was in recovery. They told me to write all my, because I was a new person. You know, the old person is not the one that came out of the coma. I was in, because of the part of my brain that I damaged, I was a new person. And the hospital told me to start a journal, write my emotions down. You know, I was going to have to figure out who I was. And that would help me. So I journaled a lot. I haven't really done it a lot lately. But I used to have, before I moved, I had journals. I had journals from years back. You know, my accident was 25 years ago. So I've had, my life went into a major upheaval lately. And I'm just now starting to find I had to move back home to get my bearings and start over. But yeah, so I'm kind of, I'm in the starting over phase myself. You know, I stepped away from the paranormal field for a while. And just when I went to Waverly last year at this time was me just coming back. So it was kind of a big step for me. I was a little nervous, but now me doing all this, I'm kind of stepping out a little more. So
right, yeah, and that's it too. You know, like with anything anxiety wise or anything like that, you know, for what we do, I believe that kind of thing helps. Because you're putting yourself out there in situations like where you're going to be with people and strangers, and sometimes like, you know, what Rosie and I do and Not Terry Collective, you know, we do paracons and we're talking, you know, in front of large crowds and all that stuff, and you know, she has she has anxiety, but and she deals with it pretty good, but you know, she can talk a lot more on that, but I know that it affects her, but us being there together, I feel like, it comforts her that I'm there, and then she can, put a lot of that, guard down a lot more because, I pick up that other side of it in support, so.
Well, I was comforted that you were at, in Louisville, because I drove there myself, but it was me in that car. It was safe, and being, you were in that hotel. You're a man. It made me feel safe that you were there.
Good.
Even though it was Rosie and I, it made me feel safe that you were there. So you're a lot of the reason why I was able to be there.
Good.
So thank you. That is, I've always wanted to say that, you were a lot of the reason why I was able to go.
Well, I appreciate that, but that also goes to show you kind of what we were talking about earlier. You've got a bunch of people that's never met in person, but you share something that you're all like-minded in the subject matter, so it brings everybody together, and it's easy to talk to people you don't know, and it's just because of that. It's like you share that common thread. It's so easy to have a conversation with somebody you never met in person, and because you can talk about anything, and that you're going to be accepted, and then feel comfortable as far as emotionally or support wise or whatever you need. But I feel like that's another part of kind of what we do, and that's another thing you can use Paraunity for if you really believe in that. It's not just talking about paranormal stuff, but it's also community.
As a family, you're like a taller little brother I never had.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, if I can be that, or just like I said, be there for Rosie and make her feel comfortable in the stuff that we do, that's a good thing. So.
And I would love to go over to the UK and see you, Wayne. I really would.
Yeah, definitely. There's some amazing places over here that I could recommend. Yorkshire is just absolutely filled with hotspots, and I'm not originally from Yorkshire. I'm from down south by London, a place called Milton Keynes. All my family's down there. Everyone that I know exists down there. My whole life started down there. I moved to Yorkshire when I was about 27. So 27 years of my life was down south. And when I moved up here, I didn't know no one. I had no idea. I didn't know my wife that well when I moved up here, so I literally just jumped in with both feet, see where it led. And now I'm married. I've got a daughter, or several daughters, and I've got a few sons. So that's my extended family. That's my wife's children, but they're my children now. I have to put them on for myself. And my wife is 10 years older than me, so she's 47. I'm 30. I'm 37 next Thursday. So when I moved up here when I was 27, she already had 2 daughters and two sons. So she had 4 kids of her own, and I thought, you know what, it doesn't really matter about that, and I'm there for my wife or for my girlfriend back then, and I'm there for her children. So I jumped in with both feet, blinded, I only known her for about 4 or 5 months, because of the distance, how we were about 106 miles away from each other. It was either jump now or that's it, let's end it, because it was costing a lot of money to travel every 2 weeks, every fortnight. A lot of money traveling 106 miles, by I don't drive, so by coach, that's untrained. It's quite a lot of money. So I jumped in both feet, see where it led, and now we've been together for like 9 years, married for 6. you know, so it can work. It does work, you know, and her kids, they don't call me dad, but they see me as a father figure, you know, and it's really good. I've got a grandson as well. Her oldest daughter had a little boy, an amazing little boy. So he's 2 years old now, and so I became a granddad when I was 34. So you know what, and it's amazing. It's amazing. You know, so things does work out, and that's my second chance. This is my second chance of having a happy life. You know, I messed up on the first time. You know, because I got a son with an ex-partner. I messed up on the first time. You know, I chose my mate because I was only like 19, 20. I chose all my mates and that over her and over. I was young. I was stupid. I was an idiot. So, so this is my second chance of like sorting that out. You know, being a better person than I was. You know, and so yeah, it can happen. People can make a change to themselves, and it is possible. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, congratulations to you two for making that work. You know, it's not the easiest thing to do nowadays.
It's definitely not. No, definitely. I mean, it's not plain sailing. I mean, we've had some bumps and you know,
of course,
stuff.
I'm sure you have.
But like everyone does, you know. But what happens with us both, it makes us stronger. You know, like it makes you really strong. So yeah, I think it's been good. It's been a hard journey, but it's been a good journey at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Are we getting any good comments or questions or anything?
Not a few.
Well, thank you.
Jason, do you have any mental health issues or depression, anxiety? Do you have anything like that?
No, you know, I don't know. I think I've been pretty lucky as far as you know, having to deal with any depression or anything or anxiety. I don't, you know, I don't have really any type of anxiety or of any kind. I don't, you know, it does not bother me to be in a room full of people and just BS with, you know, whatever, or any situation with the crowds or anything like that. It's never bothered me. You know, I've dealt with stuff when I was, you know, growing up as like a teenager. Like, you know, you and your girlfriend break up, you think that's the end of the world or something like that. But, you know, I've never really experienced anything tragic or had an accident like Dawn or anything like that. But you know, we've all experienced you know, deaths as far as, you know, relatives and things like that. And that does, you know, affect you in different ways. But
yeah, of course it does. Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, everybody's different in that, and how you move forward and how you take it. And, you know, if you want to believe in whatever type of religion you follow, you know, if you're gonna, you know, if you think that you're gonna see those people again at some point, or, you know, it's like if you do and you have that comfort that they're gone but they're not at the same time, you know, it's like you're gonna see them again. And as far as you know, them being around, I feel like somebody passes away, they're always around, you know. Even though if you can't even hear them or see them or whatever, you can have that conversation, like they're just there. But you know, and I think that kind of thing, if you embrace that, it helps. You know, so but yeah, you know, I've been pretty lucky in that aspect as far as not having anything that's really affected me mentally, or you know, but you know, I have lots of friends and everything that has, and they, you know, they deal with things differently than I do, and that's totally okay. And then, but I think my thing has been to be there, I guess, for those people. You know, and maybe if something like that ever does happen to me, where it does affect me like that, and I need to talk to people, I feel like I could. So,
No, definitely. I mean, a bit about being around people, and I'm quite social awkward. And it's hard to believe because I do Facebook and social media, and I get about 30, 40, 50 people watching me on my lives. I'm fine with that, okay?
Yeah.
Because they're behind the screen. I don't see them. I only see myself, you know?
Yeah.
If I'm in a room with 30, 40 people, I am so scared. I freeze up. I go to the nearest corner, I sit down in a chair, and that's where I am. Me and my wife and my children went to a baby reveal about a month and a half ago, and it's my wife's work colleague and all her family and all her friends. I think he knew quite a few of them, you know, my wife. And I went there and I was sweating. I was shaking. I went into the nearest corner. I sat down. I did not move. Not once through that whole time. Some of Vicky's friends tried to talk to me. I'm like, just giving them short answers because I was out. I was so. It's just for me. My house. I'm the most comfortable that I can be in. My house. Going outside and going around. Hey, Rizzy. Going outside and going around people. You know. If I'm in small groups, fantastic. I'm great, you know. But any large groups, I don't like it. I like food shopping. Gets too busy, I can't do it. I can't. Yeah. And it's weird because, like I said, I do this. I'm absolutely fine. You know, absolutely great. If I'm with people in person, that's why I don't think I could ever do shows. I can't even like stage up shows on platforms. I can't do that. You know, because I can't go on a stage and do stuff, and there's about I don't know how many people are in the audience. I can't do that because I would freeze up. My whole body would literally go stiff, and I won't be able to do it. You know, I'll probably end up passing out or something. You an empathic, Wayne? Yeah, I am. I've been told that I am. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's weird. Just weird how I react in different situations. You know. Like if I met you guys in person, I'd be great if it's like a few of us. But if there's a load of us over there, going to admit, I've come into the States and I don't know, man. I'll be awful. I mean, COVID was bad for me. COVID was awful for me. I'm not sure how it was for you guys, but COVID was absolutely awful. I want to say I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, but I'm a bit of I worry about a lot of things. So just like my team has a go at me, not as a go at me, but they go, Wayne, just relax, because every little thing I make it into a bigger thing, you know. So COVID was literally the worst time ever when we had that pandemic lockdown and we couldn't do nothing. We got home delivery done, so all our food shopping was online. They got delivered to the house. I was washing it down before it came into my house. Like I was literally washing packaging down, wiping it and everything before it came in. Everything got done. My wife went to work. She works in care, so she had to go to work. And she came home. She stripped off in the small box kitchen before even coming into my house. Fresh clothes on. No, sorry, straight into the shower, out and dressed. I was handing her clothes with gloves on, you know, and putting them straight into the wash. I was literally, my house was like you know, like people in white suits, and then everyone gets like disaffected before going into the house. Yeah. I had no guests. No one came to my house at all. You know, my daughter, she moved out with her partner and all that. Didn't allow her to come to the house. No one came to the house apart from my children that lived here, and of course my wife. That's it. And I was like that for at least, about at least 3 to 4 months. I was like that for, and I didn't even go out the house. Everything got delivered. I didn't even leave my house. My children went into the gardens, front and back, but that's it. That's how far they went. it really, and it does mess with people's heads, you know. It really does. I mean, COVID was proper message in your head, big time, and I think a lot of people developed a lot of mental health symptoms, or things like that through
It
COVID.
was like that everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
You weren't the only one, you know, and everybody was complaining about having to shelter in place, and my life didn't change that much. I would go days and days and days without leaving my house. You know, welcome to living with depression.
Yeah.
I would make sure I had enough food in the house and, you know, enough soda, you know, and I smoke cigarettes. So I'd make sure I had enough cigarettes, and I would not leave the house. I would not leave for days.
Well, I had to continue like it was normal, you know, operation. Like I'm considered an essential worker, so I had to go to work every day. So, yeah, the routine didn't change for me at all. It was the same every day. You go to work like normal, and then, you know, just keep that schedule. And, you know, I think if it was the other way around and I was getting paid to stay home, I'd probably do the same thing as far as like having food delivered or whatever, and then just do me, you know, because that's one thing. It's like I'm not married and I don't have any kids or anything like that. So it's just you know, I'm the only person I have to worry about. And,
yeah.
And then that also leads to other things as far as like you know, just having to worry about you know, one person. It's just, I don't know. I don't have those other people I need to worry about or consider or anything like that. So if I want to go to sleep for 12 hours a day, or I can do that if I wanted to or whatever, you know. But yeah, and I can see where other people it really affected. And then some people are still doing the same thing and just
They are today. They are, yeah. I mean, I'm a lot easier today. I mean, I go out without a mask now because I've had COVID. You know, I think I've had it twice. The first time that I had it was I wasn't even jabbed, not one single jab, and I got it. My wife was jabbed. She was jabbed, and she was jabbed twice before she got it because she got it from work. See, and then she brought it home here, and they went throughout my whole. I mean, my kids were fine. They had it for like one day. They were really bad for like one day, and that's it. They're fine. Like it with them, it was like a cold. Yeah. But it was only for like 24 hours. I was ill for about 2 days, and then I was fine, you know, so I didn't even have no jabs. Then I got my first jab after, and then my second jab, I got it. But just after my second jab, I got it again. I got COVID twice.
Oh, wow.
And it did, the second time, it didn't affect me. So COVID hasn't really affected me as a person. Yeah. You know, I've got asthma, you know, and that's what I was got a bit concerned about. I've got my asthma in the summer could be really bad. Yeah. You know, I'm on 2 different pumps, a brown and a blue, but I was a bit concerned, you know, because COVID attacks the lungs, it attacks the respiratory and all that. So I was a bit concerned that if I got it, I might be. And you're hearing stories. I mean, social media, it's absolutely, the news was absolutely awful throughout it, and it put a lot of scaremongering into people and made a lot of people scared. Right. You know, so when you hear all these stories and the numbers and all that, and people that's got underlying health conditions and stuff like that, your head overthinks. And people like myself that overthinks things, that was quite hard I can only speak for myself because that's what I've been through, but it's like, it makes you think, am I going to die if I get this? You know, am I going to pass? And it makes you think, you know, like I can't go into a hospital. My wife has to work. She has to provide for my children, you know, like, you know, I'm the one at home looking after my children. When my wife works, I'm a stay-at-home dad. So I'm like, if I go into hospital, then who's going to look after my children when my wife works? And it makes you, and that's what it is. It makes you completely worried and continuously worried, you know. So I bet there's many people out there that went through thousands, but millions probably went through the same thing of that worry, you know. And that's why I think mental health is such a high thing at the moment, because we're still going through that. People that have never had mental health in their life, that's developed symptoms and stuff through COVID. You know, they've got anxiety, they've got depression through COVID. You know, and not just COVID. I think it's even today. I'm not sure what's like in the States, but in the UK, our fuel prices has gone skyrocketing high. It's crazy. Like our gas and our electric over here at the moment has doubled in price, if not more. You know, and it's scary. It really is. It's so hard. You know, like I want to work. I said to my wife, I want to work, but our childcare over here is my wage. So if I work, I'm literally paying all my wage for 3 children to go childcare. It's like, what's the point of working? Because I'm no better off. I might still look after my children at home.
Right.
You know, because it doesn't plan out, you know? So, but yeah, it's just so expensive. And like I said, there's so many, I know so many families, and you hear it on the news, that are losing their homes, are losing their loved ones because of life is so hard to live, you know?
Right. Yeah. And it is getting that way. And then, you know, gas prices continue to go up.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, there's going to be a breaking point, you know, at some point. So, you know, people are just not going to sit by and let it happen anymore. We'll see how it goes. But, you know, I was talking to a guy today, and he was told they were predicting gas to go up to like $8-9 an hour. I said, there's no way. Yeah.
I mean, our average wage, you know, is not. I mean, we're not bad off, not the worse off, but still, it's still like my kids want to do this, they want to do that, they want to do this in the summer holidays. I mean, we are going on holiday in August, but we've had a lot of disasters here recently in my house. I mean, my roof caved into my daughter's bedroom, so we had to get that sorted, you know, and it was an awful journey, you know, in that, you know, I had a few funerals this year that I had to go to as well. You know, so there's a lot of traveling involved. My life's completely like, it feels like every year it's a struggle to live that year. You know what I mean? Like, and it's getting harder and harder, you know, because, you know, we had, like I said, we had COVID, then we've got the energy bills. We've had a few storms over here where we had like, I know that the US is used to storms and stuff, but when the UK gets storms, it's like we panic. Like a bit of rain over here and we are shitting ourselves. Like we are like, oh my God, like what's going to happen? Like, you know what I mean? A bit of snow, a bit of dandruff, about 1 millimeter. That's it. The whole country's shut down. You know what I mean? So we are a bit of as my saying is, we're a bunch of wet wipes when it comes down to weather. But no, it's like we had like 3 storms in a matter of I think 2 weeks. I think we did, and something hit my roof. I didn't hear it. My wife didn't hear it, but something hit my roof. And one night, my daughter came in about 12 o'clock. It was heavily raining. It'd been raining for like days, like proper downpours, and where most of like the countryside got flooded. You know, river banks broke and most of the country was literally underwater. And their roof started to leak. And not just like leaking drips, I mean, proper pouring. We had like buckets, we're emptying buckets out. Oh, wow. And then that day I said, okay, ring up because we rent our home. We don't own a home, we're private renting. So we... I said to my wife, I said, okay, I'm going down south for my granddad's funeral. So I had to go, you know, I had to go. So I said, if it gets any worse, let me know. I will sort it out, you know. I was on the coach going down and she rang me up and said, Wayne, the roof's caved in. So the roof, the actual roof of the house went through the loft straight into my daughter's bedroom. And literally wiped out my whole daughter's bedroom. Got destroyed. All the toys, all their clothes, all the furniture, beds, you name it, quilts. It all got annihilated. She showed me pictures, and it was awful. The smell was bad, so they had to move my wife and my children to a temporary accommodation. But I was down south, I wasn't in, and that felt really bad for me because I wanted to be up north, helping my family. I'm their dad. I'm the husband. I should be there helping my wife. And I couldn't. So I felt that was really hard for me because I felt very helpless. My wife was doing it all, and then my wife she couldn't go to work. See, because of what happened. So. We lost some money there. We lost quite a bit of income there, but it's all sorted now. It got fixed and stuff like that. And people on my Facebook helped out with stuff because, like I said, we couldn't afford half the stuff because the landlord wasn't going to help us because he's only insured for the house, not what's inside the house.
Right.
So, but yeah, my people on my Facebook, my followers that I've been there for since day one, all helped out and stuff like that. So that's amazing. It took me quite a lot to because my team was put an Amazon wish list up on your page, what you need for the children. And I don't ask for help. I never ask for help. I'm the sort of person that would rather proper. What was it saying? Cut your nose off to spite your face. Don't really ask for help. I'm very a proud person. I don't really ask for anyone. I don't even ask my own family to help me out. So I'm that sort of person. And it took me a lot, but I put an Amazon wish list up on my Facebook, and in about a week, everything got brought off. So they got new beds, new mattresses, new furniture. Me and my wife went out and we got the paint and we painted the walls and done all that sort of thing. So it's all sorted now. It's all fixed, it never happened. But my daughter is still quite shook up even now. She's 12 years old. Her bed's got to be in a certain place in that room now because it's away from where the roof came down. So that's affected her. So I think events as well that happened, that can trigger different things in ourselves, so yeah, but she's only 12 years old, and hopefully over time that will fade, I'm hoping, and it'll become a memory more than anything,
Okay. We have about I don't know, 6 minutes left, 7 minutes left. 6 minutes left. Would you like to tell our viewers where they can find you?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm over on Facebook, Spirits Within, Paranormal. Just type that in, you'll come up with our logo. Our logo at the moment has changed a little bit. We've got the green symbol, the green ribbon for mental health in our logo. We're on Facebook. We're also on Instagram under my name, Wayne AJ Girlwell. That's more of my everyday life, though. So I do photographs and stuff like that. I put them onto that page and advertising my spiritual stuff and paranormal stuff goes on there as well. So it's more of a private page, but it is linked with the paranormal. And then I'm also on YouTube that I'm aiming to get 100 followers, so I can change the name so it's easier for everyone to find. But I've got a YouTube channel that's got a lot of numbers and letters, so I have to share the links out for that one. And then I'm on TikTok as well, under Spirits Within _paranormal. So it's crazy. We're on literally quite a lot of platforms, and I am thinking about doing Twitter. I really am. But I'm not sure how to use Twitter yet because I don't really understand Twitter. So I am in up and arms, but we might be using that. So yeah,
I would wait until Elon Musk buys it and find
out. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, because I heard that he was going to buy it.
It's going to change because I've heard all kinds of rumors and all kinds of stuff. So I would seriously wait. I would go to Twitch first. and
Yeah, definitely.
figure out what all you need to do to get onto that.
Yeah, I've got a Twitch account because I do a lot of gaming, so I've got a Twitch account with gaming.
Cool. I don't know anything really. I don't know much about Twitch, but if you were looking to go, so I would go there before I would go to Twitter right now. Do you have TikTok?
Yeah, I have TikTok. _paranormal. I'm live in there quite a lot. I do a lot of live, just general chat, like chit chats and stuff like that.
Yeah. Just I saw somebody ask me a question earlier. I popped up on there that asked if I had a lot of siblings. I have a brother, but I don't know who asked that. But I don't know. It just popped in my mind. It's like, oh, I better answer that. So, yeah, no, I have a brother. He lives in Dallas, right south of Dallas, Texas. So,
and then Rosie said, "So glad you were able to get the things you all needed." And then, is there anything your family does with your daughters to cope with the triggers after that loss?
Yeah, just trying to comfort her more than anything. Tell her that it is a one-time freak accident. We had bad storms. We never got a bad. It's not going to happen. That's the worst time we've had that storm in many years, probably before I was born. So we've not had a storm like that since the 70s or 60s, I think it was. So it doesn't happen all the time. And we reinsured her as well. We took her out, say, look, the roof is done. You can see where they fixed the roof. It's all done. I even tapped the actual ceiling. Look, it's solid. It's fixed. They've done a good job of keeping you safe. So, but she's still adamant that she doesn't want a bed in that certain place. So yeah, but I think that's helped. Sleeping in a different part of that room helped. We did say, do you want to move rooms? But she was like, no, because it's the biggest room in the house. So she doesn't want to lose the biggest room in the house. But yeah, I think she's coping really well.
Cool. Well, I would like to thank you for joining us tonight, and thank all the people that watched for joining us. And I'd like to thank our monitor, Linda Judd, for tonight. And I had an awesome time co-hosting with you tonight, Jason. And Rosie will be back next week.
Yep, hopefully. So I don't know who we got next week or what our subject will be, but we'll have a good time.
Yes.
And if you guys want to talk to somebody, you need help, reach out to the hotlines either in the U.S. or the U.K. or wherever you're at, and I'm sure you can find help. So, but I guess we'll see everybody next week, and you guys have a good evening.
Thank you. Oh my God.